Good morning and welcome to Saturday's early morning intuitive guidance. I was all confused when I woke up and thought it was Sunday, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm running late and I have YEMIG to do, and then it would be time for Unity Cafe right away, and we're going to be late for everything. Good morning, Abigail. Glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. And then I realized, nope, it's Saturday, so not going to be late. Well, a little late for this, but good morning, Ruth Ann. Glad you're here. Welcome. I've been pondering, actually, bumping our time a little bit later for early morning intuitive guidance. Usually I'm at the quarter after mark. But with winter approaching, I know I swore. Sometimes it's darn hard to get up when it's cold. Good morning, Abigail. Thank you for all the sparkles in the balloon. Very pretty. Very pretty. Good morning, Barb. Welcome. So we've got niece and aunt right after each other. Good morning, Gwen. Welcome, welcome. Everybody rolling in. And I'm kind of surprised that we didn't get the Wild Kuan Yin deck again. We did get a wild deck. I now realize that I have 3 decks that have the word wild in them. Interesting to note. So we have the Wild Offering deck today with a very pretty card that has daffodils on it. So we can't go wrong with daffodils. So let us start with some tapping and some breath. In through the nose. The later the better for you. Yes, understandable. 2-hour time difference. Good grief. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Good morning, Beth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. And I think, Barb, your name has rolled 3 times now. So this message has something really powerful for you. Slowing it down a little bit. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Longer inhale. Longer exhale. And you can keep breathing deeply and easily if you would like. Bonnie's wild side. Well, there is that. There is that. So yes, we have the Wild Offering deck, and our card is scooting all over the place here by Tosha Silver. And Abigail, there's your name again. So I think this card must be a message for many of us. And my first thought when I read the message was, it's all about the balance. It's all about the balance of what each of us need. And it's all about the balance of, good morning, Carolyn, welcome, the connectivity between us. Because sometimes one person is in the place where they need what we have on the card today. And sometimes another person is in the place where they need the opposite. Then there's negotiation, right? So our card for today, well, first we have to look at Ganesh. There he is, overcomer of obstacles, ready, willing, and able to help us out when we bump into a seeming obstacle, because as we all know, obstacles are opportunities. They are there to see how creative we can be in addressing them. Do we go over them? Do we go around them? Do we dig under them? Do we smash through them? What do? Do we befriend them and they walk with us? Just an obstacle. Nothing to worry about. Card for today is Solitude. Solitude. And it looks very springy to me, with the butterflies and the daffodils and the little daisies and all the things. It looks very springy to me. So let's take a breath and open ourselves to receiving whatever part of this message is for us. Nice deep breath in. Hold at the top. And out. And I hear the geese flying over. We were at the park yesterday for a while, and it was so quiet. The geese were gone. There were a couple of ducks. Songbirds were there, but it was quiet. Weren't a whole lot of people either. Quiet, quiet. I love the quiet. I love the solitude. But it was a striking difference from when the geese are all there with their cacophony of sound. So, yeah, solitude. Once you embrace the inner divine and your own sacred solitude, the right people arrive at the right time, exactly on schedule, without forcing or chasing. The right people, the right circumstances, the right resources, the right things, what you need shows up when you allow, when you move into that flow, when you take the time for the quietness that's necessary. Yes, I love solitude too, so that you can hear the divine whisper. The divine typically doesn't shout. Once in a while, when we're so thick-headed that we haven't paid attention to any whispers or taps or any, then once in a while it will shout. But for the most part, the divine speaks to us in a whisper. And we need to pay attention. Good morning, Maureen. Glad you're here. Welcome. So, talk about solitude. Let's put some things in the feed. Where do you find your solitude? Are there different places for solitude that you seek out that fit different needs that you have? I have a couple of different things. Early morning is my time. Dad's still sleeping. Vicky's out walking the dog. It's quiet. There's nothing going on. Right now, the only thing running is the fan on the air conditioner. So it's quiet. Sometimes I sit on the porch and it's just quiet. Sometimes I go for a drive in my car and my car feels like it's mobile solitude. Yes, the right thing shows up when you allow. Whether it is a person, place, thing, circumstance, resource, whatever, it'll show up when you allow. And part of allowing is kind of making the space for it. And then letting it go. Letting it go. So the way you can think about it is you're outside, you've cleared the clearing, everything's ready for when whatever is meant to come in comes in, and then you can just go about your business. You may want to just sit and read a book there. You may want to leave that place entirely until you're summoned back. But the thing that dropped into my brain, it's got to be a month ago now, and I put it on a sticky note and it's sitting on my desk here, is go about your business. Let the universe go about its business. You go about your business and see what happens. Good morning, Jo Neal. Welcome. So you're not trying to dictate the universe's business. You're going about your own business. So it's not standing in the middle of the open field and yelling up, okay, I'm ready. Where is it? You go about your business. Do your thing. And things unfold. Sometimes they unfold in surprising ways very quickly that change things significantly, which has kind of been happening to me lately. Sometimes it's just a subtle shift. And people, we all have this penchant for dissing the subtle shifts. But here's my blurb on that. If here's the asymptotic line, and we're going to graph this thing out. If we do, way back at the beginning of time, if we do a 1 degree shift, by the time we get out here a ways, look how different the place is where we're going to be. So a series of tiny little shifts will land you in a place that's completely different than you would have been had you not made those little shifts. So don't write off little shifts. They amount to a big hairy deal over time. What else do I want to say about solitude? Some people, some women in particular, are afraid of solitude. They're uncomfortable with being alone. It's good to practice. It's really good to practice. And notice, what are your thoughts about being alone? Do you get that sense of I'm not safe? Do you get a sense of, but who will I talk to? What are the fears? 4-letter word, remember, false evidence appearing real, a la Neil Donald Walsh. What are the things that you are afraid of in solitude? Be as brutally honest with yourself as you can be. And I was working with a client yesterday and asked her, she had an epiphany. And I asked her what she was going to do with that epiphany information. And she said, I'm going to write. For her, journaling makes it concrete and makes it more consumable. I mean, when we have a big aha, sometimes it's hard to process it all at once. So in writing it is kind of a way to make little shifts with it. You've had the big aha, but you kind of work your way into living it, as it were. What else do you do for solitude? Good morning, Nancy. Glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. I know some of you like walking in the woods. That's an awesome one. When we're at one with nature, I think it automatically slows us down so that we can hear the voice of the divine. The universe will say, go this way, not that way. Being alone is not the same as being lonely, right? And being lonely isn't necessarily a bad thing too. It's maybe a call to action. If you feel lonely, maybe that's pick up the phone and call someone to go do something. Too many of us, I think, just sit in our unpleasant state. There's a difference between an unpleasant state that is getting us somewhere and an unpleasant state that we allow to perpetuate because we just don't take action. So, how do you know the difference between one of those unpleasant states that's calling you to take action and one that is merely part of the process, the walking through hell to get where you want to go? How do you know the difference? For me, I think there is an internal feeling difference. Kind of like yesterday's card where we were talking about instinct and intuition. Was that yesterday or the day before? Anywho, the instinct, the bodily cue, and the intuition that processes that bodily cue into, and here's what I'm going to do with this cue. When we pay attention to the instinct and the intuition, we have the guidance we need to be able to know, is this just me wallowing in my juices and I just need to take a step, or is this uncomfortable land I need to traverse to get to where I'm going? Sometimes it's murky, but we can always take a step and see what happens. And as I've said a bazillion times before, there really are no wrong steps. There really are no wrong steps, other than choosing not to listen to the guidance. And sometimes we choose that. Typically all that does is stall our progress. Hiking waterfalls, sitting at the beach, listening to water. Yes, yes, yes. All the above. The listening to water, especially if you're feeling inner turmoil, find the noisiest water source you can find that's near you. If there isn't a natural, like a waterfall, etc., find a dam, and the water's pouring over the dam. A little creek that burbles along. Find some noisy water. That usually helps if you're in turmoil within. So, that is our card for today. Solitude. Solitude, solitude. Tomorrow morning, right shortly after our early morning intuitive guidance, we have Unity Cafe. Again, if you're not already on the email list for that, tomorrow morning I will send out another link to jump on. But if you're not a part of that list already and you'd like to join us tomorrow morning for an hour from 7 to 8, private lake in the woods, fabulous. Fabulous. Yes. We get it. We get it. And again, you can find little places, parks. If you're a city person, parks. Parks are amazing. Tomorrow morning, Unity Cafe, an hour from 7 to 8 a.m. Central Time. Good morning, Mel. We're just about done. We had Solitude today, so definitely go back and listen. We're likely to be talking about communication and grief. death and dying, and other kinds of grief. The grief of things not having worked out how you thought they would. And how many of us, I think to the person here, we could say, when I was younger, this is not at all where I expected my life to be at this point in time. Tell God your plans and God laughs, right? We have a path. We don't know what the path is. We think we do, but we don't. And here we are. Here we are. And sometimes there's some grief that goes along with that. So that's kind of what we've got earmarked for conversation tomorrow morning. But love to have you join Unity Cafe. If you're, again, just send me a message and we'll get you the link, and look forward to see you tomorrow. Remember, we are all capable of far more than we think we are. Bye-bye.